So the weight of the world feels heavy on you. It feels like time's is getting real tight. At moments, you're not even sure of yourself. No matter what you do, it just don't seem like you can get it right. And you're thinking of doing something that is so drastic that you think that that's the best answer. Well, let me tell you, it's not. If you are thinking of harming yourself, if you are a victim of bullying, maybe you're having issues with accepting who you are, maybe, just maybe, you're dealing with depression or some type of mental disability or illness, and you're thinking about harming yourself or someone else, please don't. Please reach out and get help. Whether you know it or not, you're not just taking your own life, you're taking the life of those who survive. If you feel any reason to do anything like this, reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. And if for some reason you just don't feel comfortable enough to reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, then reach out to me. You can reach out to me on any of my social media feeds. Simply type in your subject box or in the message, "I need to talk." And I will 100% make myself available to you. Because whether you know it or not, you are not alone. You do not have to fight this battle alone. I will fight this battle with you. Now let's talk some football. What's going on, Pride Nation? Welcome back to another Field Review podcast show where we talk all things what? You guessed it, Detroit Lions football. And if you are paying attention to the thumbnail, you know I am not alone. I got guests today. That's right. I'm talking about the gentlemen, the beautiful, wonderful people from across the pond, from Roar of the Lions. What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on? I see we got Anthony in the building. So, Anthony, what it do, man?
Hey, thanks ever so much for having me on. I had a great time with you on our podcast the other day, and it's great to be able to come back and reciprocate. Love you.
Man, listen. I love you too. And the best part about it, it's been so much fun doing this. So I'm excited that people are here. We all obviously got Matthew in the building. Matthew, what's going on?
Hey, Luke. Again, thank you so much for having us on. You are the one-man hype train that we need. So, Detroit GM in the house.
Hey, what could I say? Now, we will have other people joining us later, hopefully. And if they don't, then we'll find another time to get everybody on. That's my goal. I see that Detroit Drew's in the building. So let me do a quick roll call because people are not used to me being live on a Saturday, but it's okay. They are going to be okay with it because this is what we do as fans. We show up and we support each other, and that's how it's supposed to be. We got my man Detroit Drew in the building. Shout out to him. We got obviously Roar of the Lions UK in the building, and then we got Ghost Gunner, Sean Parker, One Funky Lions fan, Looney Tunes, and as others roll in, and you are in the chat listening. Make sure you post a message if you want that shout out. Okay, now let's get into this, man. We finna tackle a lot of strange issues. What was that? It's like a cool little ringer. What was that? Okay, make sure I ain't going crazy now. All right, so right up the gate, we got a number of things that we got to cover. First things first, we got to talk about Dan Campbell. We got to talk about the infatuation of wide receivers with this fan base. We also got to talk about the training camp that is coming up and a host of other things, including your questions as we go through and address each and every single one of them. Let me just go ahead and hit the first question, people, because I'm sick of it, okay? And I know that everybody else may not be sick of it, but I am 100% disgusted with our fan base's love of the wide receiver position. So, yes, I am starting to show off with that question of it. Now, if you're wondering why I'm asking this question, it's because every time an article comes out, and there are many, including the latest one that says that the one trade the Lions should make should be for Odell Beckham Jr. And what do you know? I get multiple messages from subscribers talking about, man, we should pull the trigger on this one, Luke. Now, you said we shouldn't do this because of this, but this guy can replace this guy, and he would give us a true number one. And I thought to myself, okay, it can't get no worse. And then I saw another article that says the pros and cons of the Lions going after Marcus Lee. And I started to realize something. that there's a problem with this particular fan base, and as it pertains to the wide receiver position. So right at the gate, I'm just going to start it off by asking you, Matthew, please help me understand. This is a therapy section for intervention. Help me understand, why are Lions fans so in love with wide receivers?
I think the simple answer is that because we've been blessed with a good number of them who are, potential Hall of Famers, obviously Megatron, but Herman Moore as well. And, Golden Tate is up there. He's, number 7 in our all-time wide receiver list, and he's recent. Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay, it's a position that we've actually been blessed in recent years. And I just don't think that we like the idea of not being strong there. And I think it's just as simple as that. I'm fearing it myself. I'm not going to lie.
So it's not just me that has this concern. You're joining me. All right. So the intervention is getting even more shocking when the person who's supposed to be doing the intervene joins you. Anthony, maybe, I don't know, just maybe you might be a little different. Why do you think Lions fans are so obsessed and in love with the wide receiver position?
I think you've got to look at the wide receivers, the flash position in the NFL, isn't it? Where all the big plays are made, where the big names are, they earn the big money. And I just think, people, like Matt says, we've been blessed with good ones over the years. Even with Kenny Golladay, we've had Calvin Johnson, and we've always had that good receiver. And I don't know. I just feel it's the hype that they get. Like I say, they make a lot of the big plays, they get a lot of the big money, and everybody wants a big one. And this year we're going through a rebuilding phase with ours. So I think people are just looking at it and they want that number one guy again. But we've got a whole team to build, so we can't just be looking at one position.
But it's just this is what I realized. Okay, it finally dawned on me. Part of this love affair that the fans have with the receiver position is media driven. Think about how many articles in the last 48 hours have been based around receivers. In fact, it's been so many articles in the last month that most fans think that we actually have a receiver problem. They're not even talking about the safety position. They're like, oh, that's cool. Our biggest problem is receiver. No matter what I tell them, no matter what you tell them, they say that the biggest problem is receiver. I believe the media is driving certain things. Now, I've always told the subscribers, stop subscribing to stupid, okay? Because that's just dumb, okay? You don't want to go out and get every single person. But here's the thing I have with the latest one. Why in the hell would we trade for Odell Beckham Jr.? Like, what would be the logical explanation to trade for him? If the whole purpose was to get this nobody believes in this attitude going, and we are the underdogs and so forth and so on, and why would you then turn around and trade for a guy who has been a cancer in every locker room, including the one he's in now? Why would you do this? Let's start this off with you, Matthew. Why would the Lions even consider this, or is it just ridiculous to even think of?
I mean, it is ridiculous to think of, but the only way that I can think that it makes sense is if the Lions genuinely believe they're contenders and that Odell pushes them over the top and actually makes them into, legit Super Bowl contenders. And I think me and Ant have spoken on the fact that we're perhaps a little lower on the win total than you might be. But I think we probably all agree that Super Bowl is not likely. I'm not ever going to say never, but it's not likely. And Odell is not changing that for us. And given how much he's going to cost, I mean, he's maybe 2 first-round picks is basically what we got for Stafford, and it's not worth it. It's just not even close to being worth it. It's so dumb.
Now, if you guys have not known, there is a beautiful group when it comes to the Roar of the Lions UK, and I'm going to bring another one in because you know what? When we do things, we do it in full force, and I'm talking about Mr. Steve Collins. What's going on, Steve?
Hey, Luke. How you doing?
Hey, listen, I'm feeling good. I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get through my therapy. I thought it was going to be a full-fledged intervention. Matthew jumped ship and joined me, so apparently we both need this intervention. Anthony just don't know where he wants to go with this. It's disgusting to us all, but I'm trying to figure out why are Lions fans so in love with wide receivers? What is this infatuation where every time a receiver comes available, the Lion fan base say, that's the guy we got to get? What do you think that reason is?
I think it's the glamour position, isn't it?
It must be.
It's the quick return. It's the flash. It's like in our soccer, everyone loves a winger that can like do tricks and beat their man, and and I think wide receiver is the same position, and those guys in the trenches just get like overlooked.
I was making the theory that I believe it's media driven, and that most Lions fans are just misinformed because they just go by what the media say. So they believe that we truly need this over the top receiver. But I love this statement right here from Dan. I'm probably gonna botch his name, Spinato. That probably was not right. I knew I was gonna botch it. I knew it. I'm sorry, Dan. Don't kill me. Don't thumb me down. All right. He says if Tyrell Williams stays healthy, you're going to love him. Give what we have a chance. The key part is what we have. Give it a damn chance. Why must we go out and get all these other receivers? They're talking about people like Marquise Lee and Odell Beckham Jr. Oh, my favorite, N'Keal Harry. That guy. You know what's worse? The fact that most people want N'Keal Harry but don't realize that a guy who was already on the Lions roster, who then got cut and went to the Eagles, who played in less games, has more yards, same touchdown totals, and less receptions, and Travis Fulgham.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. And so now we get to a point where I'm trying to figure out why this is the case. Why are we going to go through this process? Now, for the people who just joined, we are talking to Roar of the Lions UK. If you don't know what that means, that literally means that they really are in the UK. If you cannot tell from the beautiful voices that they have that make you feel grossly small mentally, then you should pay more attention to the thumbnail because it's there for you to see. And it is linked in the description. So if you have not subscribed to them, you really need to, because not only are they in touch, they hit on things that I don't even begin to think about. And they do it at a much better level than I ever could, because I, at times, tend to get a little emotional and they don't. So I'm just saying, if there's ever a time for you to look for a new Lions YouTuber, this is the place you want to be. It is linked in the description. So make sure you show some love and hit that like. And I just recently did a video with him, so you want to do that. Let me get to this next question, because this needs to be talked about. And I know that the average person is going to say, why, Luke? Why? Why are we doing this? Because we need to. What must Dan Campbell do in year one to win you over? I want you to think long and hard about this, okay? Long and hard about this. And since this is one of them things that I know that not too many people are going to be willing to jump into, we're going to start this off with you, Steve. What must Dan Campbell do in his first year as head coach to win you over?
Well, I think after 3 years of Matt Patricia, the one thing that I do not want to hear is I do not want to hear coach speak. And I don't want to hear someone trying to be, mini Bill Belichick. I want Dan Campbell to be Dan Campbell. And I think, what we're seeing from him so far is that he's going to be that guy. But let's remember, he's not done a game yet. He's not done a post-match interview. He's not had to come and talk to the media after taking a loss. So let's see how that plays out. I think the other thing that I want him to achieve is I want our defense to be average, at the absolute worst. After seeing probably the most embarrassing defensive unit in the NFL over 2-3 years, particularly because, we were supposed to be within the realm of this defensive genius. Can we just please have a defense that makes some plays and can stop the opposition, and so our offense isn't constantly having to, perform miracles? Let's be at least average. And if Dan Campbell, and he's got his boy Aaron Glenn in there, new schemes, he's invested in the draft, let's see what he can do. But please, average at best.
100%. Now, Jimmy Stoneful says, awesome having UK Lions fans. Is American football catching on more in the UK/Europe? Wasn't it an NFL Europe at one point in time, or am I going crazy? Right? I think football is always, and it's so weird because now when I say football and I think of Europe, I know most people think of soccer, right? But I'm talking in the American version. But yeah, football has always been a popular sport in Europe. Even during the NFL Europe, I remember watching some of them games. I was like, "Where's all these people coming from? Like, where are they coming from?" So I definitely think it's gotten bigger since it's come back, and you're getting the actual teams from the States showing up, and then they're playing. Was it Wembley? I think that stadium was. So yeah, that's a huge stadium to be doing that. So I think that's where they at. What say you, my man Matthew? I mean, what must Dan Campbell do to win you over in his first year as a head coach?
I mean, I think he's doing it already, and it comes down to the eye test, right? In terms of what was happening with Patricia's scheme, you looked at it and you thought, well, this isn't working. It just doesn't look like it's working. Maybe it can get there, but a lot more needs to happen. Like, it doesn't look like it's working right now, and that never changed. So I think with Dan, is what's happening in line with how I expect it to go down. And right now, everything he's done so far is exactly where I want us to be. He's already some of the way to winning me over. And I'm not going to ask them to be perfect. They're going to make big mistakes. They're transitioning from one scheme to another. It looks kind of similar. They're actually simplifying things. But there's going to be teething problems, and that's okay. But can you actually put together a stretch of play for half a game here and there where you just completely shut out a team on defense? And I mean, maybe the rest of the game doesn't go great, but it shows you enough that says, actually, with another year in this scheme, with the defenders learning it a bit more, starting to get it a bit more, that maybe at the back end of the year, just some real progress, so that by week 17, we are a properly competitive team. Like, I think that's it. You just want to see the progression, and it wants to look right, and it just never looked right before. But in terms of before plays on the field, Dan Campbell was doing everything that I would have liked to see it done. So I'm really happy right now.
Yeah, see, I think I'm joining you. Like, for me, he's won me over. When he did the press conference, I said, "Oh, okay," and I said, "Okay, that was a good call." But what really got me going was when I saw his coaching staff, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So people really like him. Okay, this is interesting. So now we get Anthony Lynn. I feel much better about the offensive coordinator. Oh, we get Aaron Glenn. I'm like, oh, that wasn't so. Oh, so he's bringing Don Capers with him. Okay, I feel so much more better. Oh, he picked up RB Pleasant. And so now as we start to see how he built this staff, my confidence levels shot up. And then I started hearing other people talk about him from other teams, and then my confidence level shot up some more. And then I started hearing people who came here from other teams who was like, yo, it's all about this guy. He's the NRBR. And I'm like, okay. So I definitely pick up what you put down. Just a quick segue in. JGB says, where do you think the first NFL team will be across the pond? I don't. I think what they'll do is they'll bring back NFL Europe, because it wouldn't make sense logically for you to have a team purposely stationed in Europe. Like, the time jump is nuts. Now, just to show you how crazy this is, it is currently 5:20. Anthony, you mind telling the people what time it is right now where you are?
It's 20 past 10 in the evening.
Yeah, who's doing that? Who's doing that every week? I mean, you had to literally be there 4 days in advance just to get used to the time jump. I don't see that being the case. Anthony, what does Dan Campbell do in year one to win you over as a fan, in his first year as a head coach?
There's one main word for me here, and that's fight. I want to see this team fight. I want to see this team be competitive. Don't care if we go 0-17, fine. But as long as in all those 17 games we fight, we're competitive, and we don't roll over, that's what I'm looking for. Under the Patricia era, I was tired of seeing us getting bullied by non-existent Chicago Bears quarterbacks, by Kirk Cousins, by the Packers. It was embarrassing sometimes just to, we get behind a couple of scores and the just game's gone. You look at some of the games last year, the Carolina Panthers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they just all looked like they weren't interested, and we got rolled over, and it was embarrassing to the point of, well, come on, at least put the effort in. But you could see the discord between the players, and Matt Patricia was huge. So for me, with Campbell, like, I'm echoing what Matt says. He's already gone a long way to winning me over. He understands the problems here. He's not sugarcoating them, but he's taking, the mantle up and he's leading from the front, and I'm ready to fall in behind and follow him. And that's what I want to see the team do. I want them to go out on that field and leave everything out there. And regardless of the results, as long as I see that effort in year one, that's what I need there. And then we can build going forward.
No, and I think that's exactly what the mindset should be. It should be exactly what you pointed out in terms of the focus. Now, JGB says, okay, wow, because you just said it's 10:20, where he says it's 2:21 p.m. in Arizona. So he's definitely, I think that's like West Coast, if I'm not mistaken, of the states. So imagine Arizona Cardinals having to travel from Arizona to Europe to play a game on Sunday. The Europe team is going to have a gross advantage, and when Europe teams come to America team is going to have it doesn't make sense. It's better to create another league, some type of developmental league where you got like a farming system similar to baseball and just have it in Europe. That's just me, could be wrong. Shout out to my man, the Dan Show. He's in the building. He says, I'm late and I'm at work. Don't tell anyone. I promise I won't tell. Work is important, but I'm glad you're here to listen. Now, if you are here and you have not hit that that bell, if you have not hit that like button or you have not hit that subscribe button, please do so. And if you have not, please go look into my description, as you can simply scroll down just a little bit and you will see the link that goes directly to Roar of the Lions channel, UK, so you can make sure you subscribe to them as well and get a whole lot of content from more sensible people than me, because I'm good for at least 1 or 2 rants a week, and we don't need that. Okay, so now I gotta play devil's advocate, people, because if I can ask what he can do to win you over, I need to know what is it that he can do to lose you after year one. You see, this is the hard part. We're gonna kick this off with you, Matt. What can Dan Campbell do to lose you in year one? It's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm just dumb, and I know it. Like, when it came to Quin and Patricia, when it was 50-50 to keep them on last year, I kind of erred on the side of keeping them just to kind of stay the course, give them 3 years, and then we could say, well, we gave them enough time, and I didn't think they'd have enough time before. But I knew in my heart that it was going wrong. So what can Dan Campbell do to lose my faith? Well, I've proven in my history that nothing really will. But but maybe it's something like he makes just bad decisions on the sideline in terms of game management, in terms of maybe just the overall like coaching staff not really gelling. Like, he's brought in all of these guys and it's meant to be a genius thing, but what happens if the friction starts coming, if there's disagreements, if that becomes public like that? He's there not as someone who's going to draw up an amazing offensive scheme, but as someone who's going to bring in the people to do that. And if there's friction there, that's a big red flag.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Shout out to Plan B for joining us. He says he's in, I'm going to go back to where was the comment at. Mesa, Arizona here. I'm not familiar with that area, but hey, I'm happy you here. So 100%, if you here, please hit that like button. Don Bird showed up. Shout out to you. You says Detroit versus every damn body. Every damn body. He made sure it was all encompassing. Okay, so I like that. JGB says, Roar of the Lions, are any of you watching the UFC fight tonight? Well, anybody watching the UFC fight tonight?
Yeah, I'll be staying up for that.
I mean, right? Because it's technically 10 o'clock. So shit, let me see that fight come on when it's almost gonna be past midnight by the time it come on for you, right?
About 4 a.m. when Conor and Poirier come on.
Oh my God, you're staying up to 4 a.m. for a fight?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Steve, let me help you. I don't know if you know about this thing called TiVo, DVR. It works. It's a beautiful little invention. It saves you time and trouble. You can actually fast forward and rewind it. 4 a.m.
Yeah, but Luke, there's this thing that I need to tell you about, and it's called WhatsApp. And basically what happens is when you wake up the next morning after you've TiVo'd the fight, all of your friends have been all over your WhatsApp with all the comments about the fight, and you already know the result.
100%. Now, if y'all haven't been paying attention, and I hate to do this because I'm a Michigan Spartans fan. If you pay close attention to the shirt that Mr. Steve have on, he is representing the Michigan Wolverines here. We're not going to throw up or anything, and he throws a fist up about it. Okay, I see where we at. We're going to talk about that. We're going to save time for that.
That's because, Luke, my boy Eric Hiroki, who's in Saranac, Michigan, he's a big Wolverines fan. So I'm just shouting out to my boy Eric in Saranac with the Wolverines. Okay,
I see you showing some love. I see it. And then look. I want you to see the chat. Look how disrespectful this is. Look how disrespectful. I got to deal with this too often. Every time I turn around, I'm getting go blue. What did Michigan State do? And so forth and so on. But you know what? There was this one moment where I got a chance to enjoy the fruits of the labor. You see, there was this simple moment where everybody said that my Michigan State Spartans were going to get blew out because they were trash. And as you can see, we became the nightmare on Main Street that day. So yes, to you, sir, I say salute. I see all the Go Blues going up, but this is a Spartan, and I don't know if you paid attention or not. But I just want to put it out there. Now, y'all know we got problems when we got beef with other Michigan fans across the pond, but I want you to know we here for it, okay? And this is how it's going to be, all right? Let's get back to talking some Lions football. Steve, let's start off with you, man. What can Dan Campbell do to lose you after year one?
So at Roar of the Lions, we often we've got a WhatsApp group while we're watching the Lions. We do watch-alongs and all that kind of stuff. And what Dan Campbell can do to lose me is I do not want to be calling plays for the Lions while I'm watching the games again, because all year, and I'm not an NFL coach. I'm a fan. I'm not an expert, and I'm able to say, run to Adrian Peterson up the middle, or screen pass. We can call the plays as they're happening, and I do not want to be able to do that. And if Dan Campbell cannot come up with a playbook that creates some mystery and can fox the defenses, and the same in terms of blitzes and throwing some pressure on the QB and the defense. I want him to mix it up, and I want him to be able to have schemes that put the opposition under pressure, and we've seen none of that for 2-3 years now. So yeah, Dan, mix it up.
You're right about that. Even I was able to call their plays, and I was like, "Yep, run up the middle." Okay, we're going to pass right here. Yep, there it is. Okay, and screen. Yep, call that one. So you're spot on.
The worst thing with that was the call for kill. Stafford calling kill. And that was always a run to the left. It was a run to the left for 3 years. Do something else. You're killing the play. Mix it up at least every quarter of the season, for God's sake.
He said for 3 years, kill was run to the left. You knew when you heard kill, it's going to the left. It's a tragedy. Anthony, what can Dan Campbell do to lose you in year one?
In year one, to lose him, I'm sort of in Matt's corner. I'm quite high on him at the minute, but for me, what's been so good about him is his honesty. When he came into Detroit, I'm not here to tell you no lies. I'm not here to tell you coach speak. I understand there's a big problem here. I understand that there's going to be time to fix it, and you can't expect things right away. I want him to keep that honesty with me. I don't want him to go into this Patricia coach speak language where I'm hearing the same excuses every week. I'm hearing the word fundamentals every time. Honestly, that word is banned in my vocabulary. It actually gives me a twitch in my eye when I hear it. I want him to stay as he is. I want him to be honest with me about where he thinks the team at, where the team's at, where the players at. I just want that refreshing honesty from him. And in the first year, if I see him start to get deflated and he starts to just go back into coach speak, if he starts to go back into his shell, then I'd be concerned. But that's all he can do for year one for me. Right now, I'm willing to give him a bit of a leash because he seems different from the past, for sure.
100%. 100% he seems fair. I find it refreshing that I don't want to hear no coach speak. So you mean you want him to be like Jim Moore and they be like, so are you guys playing for the playoffs? Are you kidding me? Don't talk to me about playoffs. You want that kind of honesty. And I can respect that. For me, what he can do to lose me in year one is everything that Matt Patricia did ever. Do the total opposite. If Matt Patricia, I'm telling you, if Matt Patricia takes a piece standing up, you sit the hell down. If Matt Patricia eats hoagies, you denounce hoagies to the core. Anything that Matt Patricia did, I want no parts of. If I even see you grow a beard full-fledged like Matt Patricia, I'm probably going to be pissed. Don't upset me in any form or fashion in that way, and then I'll be good. I don't want to hear about players being alienated. I don't want only players trying to present to the media that you're fine and that everything's okay. I want none of it. I just simply want for you to do your job and to do it differently than what I've seen for the last 3 years. I'm not asking for much. I'm not.
I don't want to see a pencil anywhere on the sideline.
Facts.
And I don't want to see a buggy on the practice field either.
I don't want to see that neither.
No ATV. No.
Yes, that's right. No four-wheelers. As a matter of fact, we're banning if you need a four-wheeler, then stay the hell home, okay? You have a good reason, okay? We're still slightly in the pandemic. Just say you're sick. Stay the hell home. I just don't want to see it. I want to keep this facade that I'm seeing right now, everything being different, and I'm happy. I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just happy. But that brings us to our next question, because we are not the only team to get a new head coach. In fact, 7 teams total, including ourselves, have gotten a new head coach. The Houston Texans, the Eagles, the you know what? Instead of me trying to remember, I'm just going to read it because I know I wrote it down. But the Houston Texans, the Eagles, and the Chargers. The Chargers got a new head coach.
Falcons.
Yep. And so we got all these teams who got a new head coach, right? And so here's my question to you, okay? Because I think this is important for me to at least get an answer to. Do the Lions have more of an advantage than those other teams because we have former players on our staff? We're gonna start this off with you, Matt.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it's a big advantage, but I think it's something. If you've got, it depends what kind of coach they are, right? So if you've hired a new coach who's meant to be this scheme genius, whether they're on one side of the ball or the other, then you're not kind of really relying on your coaches underneath to kind of do too much. So, okay, fine, they can go and do that thing. But with Dan Campbell, because it's his first time being the prop head coach, not the interim head coach, and because he's not that sort of scheme genius guy, he's a motivator, he is someone who's going to bring all of this elite coaching staff together. The fact that they've all played in the NFL before does give Dan a bit of a kind of boost in year one when he's still kind of learning the ropes of being the head coach. You know, it's not something that he's done for 5 years. He's been the assistant. So the fact that, you know, A-Lin's going to be in there, having been a head coach last year, he hasn't called plays for a little while, but he's been there, done it. He can lean on A-Lin to go like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like, help me out. And he's got all of that experience there. Anthony Glenn's going to be helping out all of these young DBs. He's not going to have to worry about all of this stuff. He's got so many people there that he can delegate a lot of the heavy lifting and actually concentrate on what he's going to do well, which is be the face of this team. The team doesn't really have a face. The face is Dan Campbell for now.
Fact, and it should be. Every team, let's be honest. I hate to say this because somebody's going to disagree. I know they are. Somebody's definitely going to disagree and act as if though I've went full-fledged crazy. But let's be honest, okay? Bill Belichick is the face of the New England Patriots. Let's just be honest. Like, I don't care what it's Tom Brady. No, it's Bill Belichick. And it will forever be Bill Belichick until he's gone. You can say what you want about the guy, but at the end of the day, those two are going to be synonymous, but Bill is the answer to me. And if you try to tell me, oh, it's all about Tom Brady, newsflash, he left one team for a really better, great, amazing squad. So let's not play that game. Let's talk about, just to pass over to you, Anthony. Do you believe that the Lions will have more of an advantage because they do have the former players on the on the roster as coaches? You think that's going to give them more of an advantage over the Jacksonville Jaguars, over the Texans, over the Chargers, the Jets, the Eagles, and the Falcons? Do you think that gives them more of an advantage?
Yes, I do. There's probably a couple of points to this. One, I think, for the first time in a while, a lot of these coaches who've come here, especially even though they're former players, these were gentlemen who were coveted. I mean, you look at Aaron Glenn, so many teams wanted Aaron Glenn. Aubrey Pleasant was in high demand. These are guys who are coming here who've got good reputations and they're building solid reputations. And I think these aren't just former players. These are guys with a lot of coaching talent. And the second part is we've got the right amount of experience here to help them. Yes, the actual coaches themselves, a lot of them are players and aren't maybe necessarily the most experienced. But you look, Matt's already mentioned Anthony Lynn, you've got, who's been a head coach. He's done quite a lot of stuff here already, there to help mentor some of the younger guys. On the defense, you've got Don Capers here. I mean, he's going to be a huge help for guys like Aaron Glenn, just to show them the ropes, help them, get the little bits out of the system that they're not sure what to do yet. You've got the right balance between inexperience and experience, but your inexperienced guys have got so much potential talent there. So I think it is an advantage for us because we've put them in a position to succeed. We've given them the right guys to back them up. And yeah, they've just got a lot of talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
100%. I think you and Matt bring up two very good points, which is basically that there's a level of experience that you can't equate to, and apparently it's going over well with the team as it speaks. There's so many players who talks about what it's like to be able to talk to somebody who's been through it. How Amon-Ra St. Brown is growing a strong connection with Randall Well, a guy who's won a Super Bowl here in Detroit. Not obviously with the Lions, but with the Steelers and Super Bowl that was played here in Detroit. And you're talking about how he fell in love with him. You figure Don Capers, a guy who had head coaching experience, wasn't so successful at it, but even more successful as a defensive coordinator, who Aaron Glenn can bounce questions off of, and Anthony Lynn, who recently was a head coach, that do it. So yeah, I think those are all legitimate, logical statements there. For me, the advantage is very evident because there's nothing better than having people who been through what you've been through. It's easier to talk to them. And right now, that's the biggest conversation that I'm hearing from our players is this is the best team I've been on in terms of communication, where I can tell them, hey, what about this? And I get responses like, hey, when this happened to me, this is what went down. And it's not like a lot of these players are so far removed because there's even people like DeAndre Swift who grew up watching Deuce Staley and idolizing Deuce Staley because he's from Philly. Now he gets to learn from Deuce, and he's going through starstruck love and look, I get to learn from this guy. So it's an atmosphere thing that I see with the Lions that I think will overdo what you're seeing from the other teams who got a new head coach. But Steve, this question is now going towards you and for you. Do you think the Lions have more of an advantage with their coaching staff because they are former players than the other teams who got new head coaches?
For me, the answer is we don't know. And this is really, really important because it's about the right choices that have or haven't been made. We see all the time over in the Premier League in soccer, we see players retiring at 35, 36, going straight into coaching roles with some of the big clubs. And what we see is a massive high percentage of burnout and completely not being able to do the jobs. But we also see some incredible success. And I think this is all down to how well they've judged the character and the capacity for these guys to bring their knowledge from players into the coaching staff. And I don't think all ex-players can necessarily do that. It depends on the guys. What we do see in the NFL is a real tired carousel of the same old coaches, working their way up to the ranks, being mediocre, being average, being 7 and 9 every year, getting fired, going back to being DCs, OCs for a couple of seasons, being okay, and then getting another head coach job. And what I really like about the Lions is that we have such a young and up and coming and untried and tested group, and that's not just Aaron Glenn and Anthony Lynn, but Randall L and Deuce Staley, and these guys seem to have such energy and passion. but they've got to be able to translate it onto the field and bring that kind of wisdom from being players and make that kind of connection and make it translate into wins on the field. And not every player, ex-player, can do that. I don't think we'll know for probably 6 months, but oh my God, if we do have got it right, it could be absolutely awesome. Maybe not this season, but over the next 2 or 3 seasons, it could be absolutely awesome.
Now, I will say this. I do love your refreshing take on just saying, you know what, I don't know. I love that you're not trying to force an answer and you're not trying to come up with some generic statement. So kudos to you. Again, if you're not familiar with the Roar of the Lions UK, this is why you listen. There's no reason to sugarcoat it. Some things just got to be told the way it is. And that's what you're going to get when you watch these guys. They have so many different views and they're untainted. See, I'm tainted. I get to listen to subscriber and the fans that I sit next to in games tell me things that I just go, why? Why me? And I'm just saying that the reality is you can always learn from people who are untainted. That's what it is. And if you're going to do that, you need to go click in my description and subscribe to them 100%. Daryl Thompson, he says, what up, though? Always up for some Lions talk. 100%. Thank you for being here. We got Delusional Lions fan. He says, yo, Luke, what if we have a 2020 Dolphin type season? Oh, what do you mean? I mean, what
7-9? I mean, I'd take that.
No, they did much better than that.
Was it 8-8?
I thought they went 7-9 in 2020.
No, last season they went 10-6 and missed the playoffs.
And they spent big. Guys like Kyle Van Noy, etc., put on massive contracts as well.
I think that they just lost their way, didn't they, in the second half of the season?
They should have stayed with Fitz.
Now y'all got me wondering. So let me see. They sure did go 10. Let me tell you something. First of all, I already got us winning between 8 and 10 games. So that would mean that we would have to go 10-7. I know Detroit's own Big Will has them pegged at going 10-7. And I know there's a host of other people who like Jimbo G who has them. I think Jimbo G has them between 10 to 13 wins. But if they do win 10 games, I can tell you this much. There ain't a free agent we won't get next in 2022. There's not a single free agent, right? Because now they'll see that there's a mass movement and change going on, and people love being a part of a mass movement or change. So if that does happen, expect for big things to come down the pipeline where anybody we go and talk to, we will get. And so that's huge for us, in my opinion. Obviously, we are in the month of July, and in a few weeks, we are going to have training camp. And so with that being said, we obviously got to talk about it. And we, right at the gate, we started off with you, Steve. What positional battles are you most excited and looking forward to seeing this training camp?
Well, I mean, I think the defensive line, in terms of the talent that we've added through Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil, going up against hopefully like Deshaun Hand, who hopefully is going to be fit and healthy and be able to get through the season. Got Michael Brockers coming in. I mean, there's some absolute straight up killers in the interior on our defense, and how there's talk of Trey Flowers playing like a different role. I think that's a fascinating storyline, and the kind of talent that we've got in that area. I'm really looking forward to seeing who on the D line is going to come through and generate pressure, not just from the outside but from the inside as well, because that's what Brad Holmes and the Rams have done. They've been able to generate pressure from the inside, and who's not going to be excited to see that?
100%. Mark LeBay says the Lions coaches seem to excel at talent development. Shout out to you, and thank you for joining. Don Burr says, FO, all Detroit teams on the right track. Lions got draft capital up the wazoo. And if it is anything like this draft and we in business, let's see, Delusional Lion fan says, and we have the Rams draft picks like the Dolphins with the Texans. Intriguing and very intriguing way to look at it. Daryl Thompson says, hey, Luke, I know we're talking Lions, but is that a Beating Us album over Steve's left shoulder? I've never heard of the band. I'm pretty sure it's a band. I've never heard of them. But Steve, apparently, Daryl Thompson noticed something. Is his eyes deceiving him, or is that indeed a Beatnuts album over your left shoulder?
So what we've got here, Luke, is we've got an absolute artistic masterpieces of 90s hip hop above my head. So we've got we've got Tribe Called Quest Jazz.
Now I know that cover. I know the Tribe Called Quest one. That one I'm with.
And that's the one with all the dope remixes on.
Okay.
We've got the Beatnuts first album. We've got EPMD, Business as Usual.
Wait a minute, is that EMP? Let me, you know what? Let me do one better. Hold on, let me get this right because we can't have this until there we go. Down. Let's see.
A Def Jam 1990 classic, EPMD, Business as Usual. One of the best album covers, ever in the history of hip hop. Shout out to Bill Sienkiewicz who drew it. We've got Nas from Nas's first album. That's the It Ain't Hard to Tell single. Then we've got a Tribe Called Quest again, another one of their 12s, and then we've got EPMD, Strictly Business, over in the corner.
See, I saw the Strictly in Business, but since they wanted to take us there, I didn't want to go there. So now, let me just go ahead and spin this a little bit because this right here is just the truth. Not only are they Lions fans, he knows hip-hop. What the hell? You can't lose. You can't lose. Listen, people, I don't know why Beatnuts is not ringing a bell in my head. I'm like, why is it not ringing a bell in my head? Like at all. It's just not. But
one of the great 90s, not only a great group, but also a great production team.
One song. Give me one song. Maybe I might remember the song.
So they did the song with the Jennifer Lopez sample? Jenny from the Block?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a Beatnuts track that Jennifer Lopez sample.
Got it. That dun.
Yeah, that's Watch Out Now by the Beatnuts.
Okay, listen. As y'all can see, Luke does love him some hip hop, and he can't remember every single thing. I noticed the Nas one. I was like, yeah, because Nas is my favorite rapper of all time, and so I definitely noticed that. But I did notice his impressive like books and CDs, and I'm like, this is nice. I need that in my house. But
I can actually go one better on the Beatnuts for Daryl Thompson. So I've actually got on my arm a Beatnuts tattoo.
Oh, you're in full-fledged Beatnuts mode. I see you. I see you. See, yeah, you as rare as they come. Well, obviously, you have 100% damn snake eyes, Daryl Thompson. You 100% saw that. The Beatnuts are a New York's 90s rap group. Good taste, Steve. See, look. I'm telling you, you never know what you're going to get. Life is like a box of chocolate, and with this particular group, you know what you're going to end up with: a whole lot of sweetness and factual-based conversation. All right, listen, I wasn't expecting that, but I had to go to that question. You never know where the questions are going to take you. But yeah, he came with that one. He's like, is that a Beatnuts album over his shoulder? I'm like, okay. Even Don Burr, like, what is Beatnuts? I told you I can't remember the group. It's not ringing a bell for me. But I believe we were going into the camp battle question, so I'll pass it over to you, Anthony. What positional battle are you most excited and looking forward to seeing this training camp?
I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing the battle at cornerback because we have a lot of talent there. Now, obviously, we've got Cornelder, Quinton Dunbar come in. Hopefully, we're going to get some better years out of them than we did Coleman and Desmond Trufant because they completely just blew it up last year and they left, Oruwariye and Okudah in a bad situation. But we've got Ifeatu Melifonwu, who's come through the draft. We did a video on him earlier today, looking at him, and we're all really, really high on him as an outside corner. He looks an excellent prospect and just brings a lot to the table. His tackling, his coverage ability that we didn't really have last year. And I think there's a good shot that he might start if he does well enough in camp. But, as well as him, you've got Jeffrey Okudah. We're all looking forward to seeing him have his bounce back year, like TJ Hawkinson didn't fully believe he's going to do so. You've got Oruwariye in there. We know how good he is. He's inconsistent, but can he put it together under the new coaching staff? And with those 3 young, talented guys mixing it out with the 2 more experienced guys, I'm looking forward to seeing who comes out on top. But whoever does, I'm hoping we're going to see some high-level play this year, because the secondary, it does need it. It didn't have the best year last year, but we've got a defensive line, which is going to be a lot better, provide them some protection. And I want to see these guys break out. So I'm looking forward to seeing who gets the nod out of them.
Now, JGB apparently seems to think that Steve don't know who these people is, but I'm pretty sure Steve finna shock the world. Steve, do you know who MC Breed is?
Well, he's the guy that did Ain't No Future in Your Front End.
Oh, shit. Y'all about to get me in trouble cussing on the air. Stop it now. Do you know who Trick is?
I don't know who Trick, but I know the Dungeon family. I think are they like an ATL group?
See there, JGB. This is what happened when you just assume. Trick is a Detroit legend and a rapper. And if you listen to Detroit City, welcome to Detroit City, where it's Eminem and Trick, and you wouldn't. That's Trick basically. And yes, you are right about the Dungeon family. So, JGB, look at him. He had to give you your props. He said, "Hey, Steve, see." Thank you.
If we're talking Detroit rap, you've got to check out the new Apollo Brown album.
Steve, you're scaring me. Okay, just a little bit. Steve, are you in Michigan? Am I tripping? Are you here? What the hell? You're just so in tune. I'm gonna leave it alone. Now, Matt somehow disappeared on us. I don't know where Matt went, but I'm gonna tell you what the battle is that I'm looking most forward to. And for me, I've said it before, it's the battle within the players themselves. There are some players who need to have their confidence restored because I believe Matt Patricia sucked the life out of them. And there are certain people that I'm looking forward to change it up, like Tracy Walker. How does he respond to having such a down year at the starting off so fast? And then there's people there's people like Sewell. Who's playing right tackle? How does he make that adjustment to the right tackle position? And then you look at even people like Derek Barnes, who's going to be coming in and getting some stars. So I'm looking at both of those. Now, SpeakEZ, shout out to my man SpeakEZ Sports, as he's over there doing his thing with Woodward Sports. Shout out to them as well. He says, Steve gets your ass, JGB. That's how he that's how he let you know he in the loop. It says Steve is a hip hop legend. It says he did easy, and I'm here for it. Hey, 100%. Gotta love it. It says JGB. I bet he don't know Blade Icewood though. And Blade Icewood, if he knows what Blade Icewood is, I will be 100%. Like we would have to check to make sure he's actually there. Like he cannot be in the UK talking about Blade Icewood. Blade Icewood is a local rapper from Detroit. He did a number of songs. One of his biggest ones, I believe, Brought Up and Get This Money, who sadly has passed away. But if you ever get a chance, YouTube Blade Icewood, and you can hear some good local rap music. Let me see.
Yeah, check out the Apollo Brown Sincerely Detroit album because he showcases about 50 Detroit rappers on there, including Trick. You got Elzai, you got Bronze Nazareth. It's a great album.
100%. Now, hopefully we get Matt back because I got questions for Matt and I got questions for you all, so I want to make sure we don't miss anything. Now, and plus I got some.
Just going back to that thing you were saying, Luke, about the players. Like we know about certain players who escaped. We know Darius Slay. We know Condre Diggs. But don't tell me that there's not other players in that locker room that maybe just couldn't get out their contracts or couldn't get the move that they wanted, and have just been stuck in there. And now they're going to have a massive breath of fresh air, new coaches, new motivation, new leadership. So there's going to be some 2, 3, 4 year players in that locker room that are going to shine because they're going to be remotivated.
And I know this.
Go ahead. Anthony.
I was about to say, I know this won't be a popular one, but you look at the transformation of Tavai, all the weight he's dropped, the confidence that seems to be coming in him. I mean, you saw when Patricia left last year, I know he didn't set a high bar for his play, but you could see him slowly get better as he was used a little more to his strengths. But he's dropped a lot of weight during the offseason. They've made him do it, but he's stood up and been counted, and he's fighting for his position. So I think, that's a good example there of, a positive move in terms of the players. Like you were saying, Luke, you want to see that fight. Well, he's fighting.
Yeah, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that exact fight. 100% to see that, and it's no shocker there. Matt, what is that positional battle that you are most looking forward to, and for this training camp coming up? Obviously, Anthony has a very good battle, and he brought up a very good point about Tavai. So did Steve, who apparently is some type of hip hop historian, got me feeling ashamed about myself. But what is that battle you're looking forward to yourself?
First of all, sorry about my connection problems. I've got an engineer coming on Monday to try and fix it for the second time. So we'll see what happens.
It's all good. Totally all good.
I mean, for me, it's the linebackers, both inside and out. With the change of scheme, I'm looking at Flowers and I'm looking at both of the brothers on the outside. On the inside, is Tavai going to get a look? I hope so. I like the guy. He's a really nice dude. Whenever you see him talk, and he's shed the weight. Let's see what happens with that. But we've talked before about Barnes, but I'm actually quite high on Anzalone. I think that he can actually do something. I think that his career has been hurt by a couple of injured years, but when he's played, I actually think he's been very good. So I can see that happen. And just to see what Jamie Collins does in this scheme, because he's been... I think people underestimate how hard it is to be a linebacker in this league. It is, apart from quarterback, the hardest position in the NFL, because you have to do everything. You have to be able to defend men deep. You have to be able to track horizontally and vertically, but you also have to be big enough to stop guys on the run. You have to be able to process so much information in terms of assignments, in terms of are you coming down or what do you like? It's so hard to be a linebacker. And Jamie Collins, by not being awful, is an exceptional linebacker. And people forget that. So Jamie Collins, Anzalone, is Barnes going to challenge him? Is Barnes actually going to play a little bit of outside linebacker as well? Because we know he can do that from college. There's a lot to like about the battle there. Who's going to get the start out of Anzalone and Barnes is a big one for me.
Listen, I love it. I 100% love it. You guys are firing on all cylinders today. Andrew Isham, I hope I said that right. He says, what are the biggest concerns with the transition of players from Patricia era to this new coaching staff era? What say you, Matt? Now, I pretty much got my answer in my head because I think it's the one that I kind of spoke on already. But what do you think is going to be that biggest concern with the transition?
I mean, so one of the things that Aaron Glenn has said in his press conferences is, oh, these guys still don't understand leverage. Like, it's horrific to me. It's awful. Like, the previous coaching staff was either coaching players badly or not coaching them at all. And if they have been coaching them badly, they need to unlearn that as well as learning something new. Like,
very good point.
I think communication is obviously going to be the biggest thing. The way these guys do things is going to be different. And actually being able to just gel with these guys is going to be the number one concern. You know, a lot of these guys were not brought in by this coaching staff. They're going to be used to learning things in a particular way. And if they don't learn that way, because that's not how the coaching staff do it, that's going to be tough.
I mean, damn, that was much better than I was thinking. But okay, Anthony, what do you think? I mean, what do you think is going to be the biggest concern with them transitioning from the Patricia era to this Dan Campbell era?
My biggest concern would be that some of them are already broken beyond repair. Because we've seen with Patricia, he ruined a lot of players here. He ruined their confidence. He ruined their development. And I'm thinking particularly about Tracy Walker here, because after that first year he had an amazing year. He was full of confidence and we were all tipping him to be the breakout guy. But because schematically they changed him from his free safety role and put Harmon in there instead, it hindered his development. And now for me, he's only got one season left to save his career here, and has the damage already been done? Will he have enough time to prove that he can be the player we all thought he was going to be? And that would ring true with other players as well. Has Patricia's scheming just ruined them beyond repair, potentially what could have been a great player beforehand? And hopefully the answer is no, and they can be saved. But that would be my concern for now, that a lot of players are just beyond saving.
And that's my concern. My concern is the confidence. Can you shake the trauma that you just got dealt with for the past 3 seasons or 2 seasons, however long you was here under that psychotic person who thought he was a rocket scientist and somehow couldn't figure out how to wipe his own butt. But you know what? That's none of my business. That's just none of my business. Let's talk to you, Steve. What do you think? I mean, what is that concern that's coming over for you, the biggest concern with the transition from the Patricia era to Campbell's era?
Yeah, I completely agree with what Ant just said. And let's not forget, we've got a number 3 overall pick on the roster in Jeff Okudah, and he's kind of like been forgotten. I mean, like the number 3 pick. And, you know, because of the circumstances of last year and him coming in injured and him playing through the injury, you know, being able to get him firing again will be massive for the defense and a secondary that's just been so bad. But probably my biggest concern is the kind of Matt Stafford-shaped hole, you know, at quarterback, and the fact that we know from what's happened in the Rams over the last couple of years is that Jared Goff is like a confidence quarterback. And you look back at Goff's numbers in 2017 and 2018, he had 2 really good seasons, and he got to a Super Bowl. And they didn't lose the Super Bowl because of Jared Goff. And I think unlocking Goff's confidence, which was obviously shot to pieces when he fell out with McVay in 2019, 2020. They changed the schemes. It didn't suit him. And I'm just worried that we've got the talent in the wide receiver group to be able to give him that confidence and get him performing and firing, because I think we've got a really good running back room now. Swift and Jamal Williams, I'm really excited about that. The offensive line should be absolutely awesome, but we need to throw the ball. And that's my concern, is how can we transition from Stafford into a Goff that's coming in with confidence and coming in and is going to be a leader.
Now, this question comes from a subscriber, and I enjoyed it so much. That's one of the reasons why I included it, because it's one of the things that I think needs to be discussed. Also, you have everybody pretty much going nuts in here about Apollo Brown. So we're gonna leave that alone. But this question comes from Jason Smith. Shout out to him. He asked the question of who should or who will get the bulk of recognition when the Lions wide receiver core performs well. This is a question that I absolutely love, and I'm going to kick this one off with the most simplest answer possible. Is this is a hard one, because it's going to go down to who is scheming the person open. And to me, that goes to Anthony Lynn. He's the one that's scheming the players open. And if he's not able to scheme them open, I'm going to blame him for doing just that. If the offense is not moving, I'm going to blame Anthony Lynn. As much as I want to give praise to Randall L., I can give praise to Randall L. for the individual things like route running, making tougher catches and stuff. But overall, my intention is going towards Anthony Lynn. Matthew, let's start this one off with you. Who you think is going to get the bulk of the recognition, Anthony Lynn or Antoine Randall when receivers are having a successful season or performing well, I should say? Did we lose Matt? No, Matt.
No.
Matt,
he's looking very thoughtful.
I know. I got to take that off. I don't want him stuck like that. Anthony, let me ask you the question. Who do you think will get the bulk of the recognition when the Lions receivers are having or are performing well? You think it should be Anthony Lynn or should it be Antoine Randall?
Well, I know you put the question in 2 parts there, who will and who should. Well, who will, I think if it's who will, then it's going to be Anthony Lynn, who's probably going to, because he's in charge of that offense, and schematically he's going to have to work these guys into games. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you use his separation ability at the line, Perryman and Johnson, you use their speed, etc. You learn, you put Hawkinson in there, Williams, Swift. He's going to get the bulk of it. Who should? I think it's going to be a team effort. If the receivers perform well this year, I think the receivers should get merit for stepping their game up and proving themselves, because most of them are on 1-year deals or are rookies. I think the coaching staff should get credit because obviously they've utilized what is not the best receiver room, and they've created something good out of it. I think Jared Goff will need to take credit for it, because if the receivers are going to do well, Jared Goff has to play well. And I don't think you can have one without the other. If they succeed, the quarterback succeeded. And then I think you have to look at the coaching as well. So I think it will be a team effort. If the wide receivers come up, then everyone needs to share in the recognition. But if we're going with who will, then it will probably be Anthony Lynn who gets the most.
100%. Matthew is back. He had a little technical difficulty. We're good, Matt. We good. Matt, who should... I know it. Listen, bro, I've been there. I know your pain. Who will and who should be given the bulk of the recognition when the Lions wide receivers are having success and or performing well? Should it be Anthony Lynn, or should it be basically Antoine Randall? Now, I do love Anthony's response, because at some point we got to give some credit to the person who's actually doing it. You can teach a lot of people a lot of things. That don't mean they actually learned it to do it. But what say you, Matthew?
I think he's frozen again.
Yeah. No. He's giving out a great answer, and we're not going to interrupt this great answer he's giving. Yep. Yeah. See that smug look on his face? That's an excitement you never see. Yeah. I totally agree with you. Oh, I know. Thank you. You're too kind. All right. Obviously, my man Matt is having some technical difficulties. Steve, how would you answer this question?
Well, I think if you look at the wide receiver group now, like we're in a situation where we've gone from like Golladay and Marvin Jones and Golden Tate only a few seasons ago, and we're kind of got like a group with no clear stars. I think Hockenson is the star, and he's not even a wide receiver, but I think Hawkinson's going to have an absolutely great season under this new regime. But I think if we can get production out of the wide receivers, I think Antoine Randall will have done a great job. Anthony Lynn would have done a great job, but I think Deuce Staley might need to get some credit, because if we can establish the run and we can actually, create some mystery in terms of our offensive scheming, so it's not blatantly obvious that we've had first and run, second and run, and now we're going for third and long. If Deuce Staley can establish that run game, mix it up, Jamal Williams can catch balls out the backfield as well. I think between them, they should all get the credit, because this, as Anthony says, could be a really good team effort. All
right, Matt, no need to apologize. Technical difficulty happens, man. You're good. Trust me.
All right.
Trust me. How would you answer this question, though, Matthew? I mean, who will and who should get the bulk of the recognition when the Lions wide receiver core performs well?
Who will get the recognition? Jared Goff.
I didn't even think about that one, but that's a good point. That's a good. Okay. Do tell. You got him saying he will, and who should get it?
I think I probably agree with you. I think Anthony Lynn is the guy who needs to get the credit, because he's going to be the one doing the scheme, and the scheme is the thing which is going to give Goff the success or not. But at the end of the day, if the core succeeds as a whole, it's because one man is throwing them the ball. And that's what the fan will see. And the fans are the ones who will know, maybe don't have the best opinions, but they are the ones who decide who most of the credit gets given to, and that will be the quarterback. It always is.
Okay. You got me out here thinking now. Now we're gonna switch this up a little bit, because every now and then I throw a curveball where I give you something that you're not totally prepared for, and that is on purpose. That is 100% done on purpose. Bam, good people. We got to discuss these two articles, and I want your opinion on them, but I want you to let me know what you think. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to read to you this article. Now, why I love this particular take is because not only did he give 5 reasons why Detroit Lions fans should have hope in 2021, he gave 5 reasons why they should not. And so we're going to go through each one of these 5 reasons and see whether you agree, disagree, or what are your thoughts on them. His first reason is coaching for why you should have hope. Let's start this off with you, Matthew. You know what? I'm just give you all of them before I even go there. Right? He's got coaching as one of them. Jared Goff might be better than anyone thought. You think? Duh. The offensive line could be elite. Oh, shocking. This was a funny one because y'all know I can't stand Pro Football Focus, but it says check out this Pro Football Focus grade for those games. Games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They are talking about when Big V has played guard, he's gotten better. So, whatever. And then they talked about players with something to prove. Again, this nobody believes in you mantra and DeAndre Swift. Matthew, what do you think of these 5 reasons? DeAndre Swift, players with something to prove, the offensive line being elite, Jared Goff being better than what people thought, and the coaching. You agree, disagree, something that you don't like? What you think?
I think it's a fairly straight bat approach. I think those are all things which could be seen as positives. I mean, I agree with you in pouring scorn on the Jared Goff might be better than people thought, and it's actually quite a lot of people think that Jared Goff is quite good, actually. So what are you thinking? But apart from that, Swift really could break out this year, and that would be really, really cool. And the offensive line, that would not be a surprise either if that was really, really good. I mean, if Saul is transitioning from left to right tackle. He played right tackle at high school, but he hasn't played right tackle since. It's not entirely new, but it is a bit new. So it would be a surprise for him to play really, really well. But, I mean, what if he did? What if our left tackle, our center, and our right tackle were all Pro Bowl, all pro standards? That would be exceptional. That would be so, so exciting because Goff is one of those quarterbacks who throws an amazing ball under no pressure, top 5 in the league. And he is in the bottom 5 in the league when facing pressure. He has the biggest drop-off when he's got, a man in his face. So if the O-line can play really, really well, that is our quickest route to success.
Okay, well, listen, I can rock with that. What say you, Anthony? How are you feeling about these 5 reasons why Lions fans should have hope for this season? They say it's coaching, Jared Goff being better than people thought, the offensive line being elite, players having something to prove, and DeAndre Swift. What say you, sir?
I think they've got a good handle on this, maybe. I would maybe expand a couple of these points. I mean, the coaching we've already been through, I think that's a reason to be very positive for the future. Jared Goff, definitely. I think Jared Goff gets far too much blame for what happened in LA. I believe Sean McVay got off very easy with what happened there.
Agree.
And it makes me mad because when things were going well, Goff was there and everything was fine. But when things didn't go so well and his scheme got figured out, Jared Goff got the blame for some reason, and that wasn't his fault. And I do believe he's going to have a much better season than we thought initially. Obviously, with a team stacked with players who have something to prove, that's absolutely right there. But it says the offensive line is going to be potentially elite. I'd include the defensive line in that as well. Obviously, with Michael Brockers, who's been number 2 to Donald for years, he's going to be huge in making that line better. Aleem McNeil, we've now got a good nose tackle in there. Levi Onwuzurike, a disruptor, guys who are going to... The trenches on both sides are going to be important this year, and I can see it doing well there. And then DeAndre Swift, well, this might be controversial. DeAndre Swift's there, but I put Jamal Williams in as well. Everyone is forgetting about Jamal Williams. The man has 3,000 scrimmage yards in 4 years at the Green Bay Packers, a place where Aaron Jones gets so much of the ball. Those are huge numbers to be a running back too. And for me, I'd start him over Swift this year. I love his dual threat. I love his running ability. I just love everything about him. And you see the man, the character, he's desperate to succeed as a running back 1. So I put Swift and Williams in there. They are going to fight one another for competition. And I think they're going to bring the best out of one another. So not just Swift, but put Williams in there. The guy is going to have a really good year, in my view.
That's a good point. Shout out to my man Jimbo G. He says, hello, everyone. I'm super late. I'm shocked he's live on a Saturday. I'm live on a Saturday because they not in the U.S. They in the U.K. That's why they are Roar of the Lions UK. And right now, to show you how crazy this is, because I have no problem being accommodating with people, to show you how crazy this is, it's exactly what time right now in the UK?
11:15 in the evening.
And I'm on Eastern Standard Time, and it's 6:15. Yeah, I'm very accommodating to the guests. So this is why we're doing a Saturday live show. Chances they probably work, and I know nobody wants to be up until 11 at night to try to talk some football. It's a difficult thing. So that's what it is. What say you, Steve? What are your thoughts of this? I mean, apparently there are 5 reasons that the Lions fans should have hope in 2021. And I do like what Anthony brought up in terms of the running back room, having both Williams and Swift. But what do you say? They say you got DeAndre Swift is one reason why you should be excited and have hope. The players have something to prove. The offensive line could be elite. Jared Goff is better than everyone thought in coaching. What say you?
I think that these are all, decent reasons, but the biggest reason is not even mentioned in these 5. And the biggest reason is our defense. Because for the last 3 years, I've had to watch Lions football with my eyeballs bleeding from the yards that we've been hemorrhaging. And everyone has walked all over us for 3 seasons. We saw our team get humped on national TV on Thanksgiving by a very, very average Houston Texans team. And the defense has got no answer. It's been completely toothless. And what we've seen, we've got Aaron Glenn coming in. We've spoke to a couple of people on Raw the Lions on the podcast, and we've, people in Detroit sports, and we've asked them, who out of the incoming coaches do you really rate and do you really think is going to make a difference? And everyone said Aaron Glenn. So this to me is a massive, and I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid here. I'm just saying this is a massive.
Drink the Kool-Aid. There's nothing wrong with drinking the Kool-Aid. Listen, it's a new season. Everybody's record is 0-0. The only team that won it last year was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That means that there were 31 other losers. I guarantee you nobody is excited from Kansas City with being able, we got to the Super Bowl. That's not enough. And so at that point, you deserve to drink the Kool-Aid. If you have hope going into a new season, that's what makes you an ultimate fan. So drink the Kool-Aid. It's very flavorful.
Aaron Glenn is my ray of sunshine coming in. And, we've had a secondary that's just not been able to make a play. We then find out that Jeff Okuda's never been properly fit and he's got a groin injury and he's probably been, pushed into playing. Okuda could be awesome this season. This could be his breakout season. We've got Melifonwu. We've got real pressure, hopefully, coming from the interior. We've never been able to put any pressure on an opposing quarterback. We have to play Aaron Rodgers twice a year. You cannot play Aaron Rodgers and not put any pressure on him. We saw back in 2018 when they got to him, and I think Aquara sacked him twice in that game that the Lions won at Ford Field. We need to be able to do that consistently against every QB that comes into Ford Field. They need to feel under pressure. And if we can do that, that's the biggest reason why we should be hopeful.
Now, I love that you brought up a point that even I missed, that they never talked about the defense. And that lets you know that we're finna get into some different things. And it's one of the reasons why I did this with you guys, so I could prevent myself from ranting. Because while he did give us devil's advocate and start off with that way, he then gave us the 5 reasons why Detroit Lions fans should not have hope in 2021. You know what you're getting into. Now, this is why I laugh at this, because this is not even really a statement, but he's going to clarify. So let me bring that up a little bit closer and we can get to the bottom of it. He says, let's just start right here. This is a rebuild. We all knew what to expect when the Lions went scorching earth on the front office, coaching staff, and roster when the offseason started. It's okay to have hope for the franchise, but the hope isn't for 2021. It's for 2023 and beyond, which to me, I don't know why everybody just insists that this is a lost cause first year. But hey, what the hell do I know? Because it's not like I went and did my own research and noticed that most teams who got a new head coach record improved. That's none of my business. It's not like the Detroit Lions had a coach who took over a team that was 7-9 and went 11-5 and Jim Caldwell. That's none of my business. But why have hope? Whatever. He then talks about the defense. And he's very clear. The defense didn't really improve. And it's one of the reasons why this particular part is up, because we're going to talk about that. And he said there's tons of unproven talent on offense. And then he says the NFC is stacked and the schedule is rough. And the coaching staff is green. Now, I promise I was not going to rant this time because there's a lot of things going on here. All right. but I'm probably not going to be able to keep my promise, okay? Because this is the reality. There's a lot of contradictory points here. The idea that you talked about the coaching staff as being one of the reasons to have hope, but now you're going to say they're green. And we talked about this earlier, where there's a level of experience on every level. For a guy in Dan Campbell, who you want to say had lacks experience, well, he was an assistant coach for 5 years with the Saints. Right, and I've heard many fans say this. You mean to tell me he couldn't learn anything new from Sean Payton? Nothing. He got nothing from him. He was just there getting peanuts and coffee. I got it. He was an interim coach for the Dolphins. He didn't learn anything in that experience, right? But let's just say he didn't learn nothing, right? The purpose of him bringing in people, i.e. his words, other alphas, and letting the alphas be alphas and knowing when he needs to step out is why he brought in the people he brought in. You don't think he's going to be able to go over to Anthony Lynn and say to himself, hey, I need help, help me out here. Or let's go and look at the other part that they're saying is green. They're talking about Aaron Glenn, who has Don Capers to kind of help him along the process. Every single part of this team has a safety blanket. And I don't understand how he can not all of a sudden say, oh, it's a coaching staff that's green. Then he talks about the NFC is stacked and this schedule is rough. Really? Huh. Really? Okay. So if the toughest stretch of our schedule, according to NFL experts, is the first 4 to 5 games, and we finish those 4 or 5 games above 500, then that means that the rest of our schedule is a cakewalk, right? I just like putting things in perspective. You talk about the Seahawks, you talk about the Packers, you talk about the Bucks, but who in the hell really cares? And then we get to this tons of unproven talent on offense. The last team that had tons of unproven talent on offense went to the NFC Championship game in 1991. Well, Luke, that was a long time ago. Granted, it was. But let me bring you up to speed. They said the same things about the unproven talent when we brought in Marvin Jones, and it still worked. So I'm not buying it. Another team that they said had no talent and was not going to win, not my words, was the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins still did. They still won tough games. They beat some good teams, and it wasn't shocking to people. And the defense didn't really improve. This is a question in and of itself that we're going to talk about, but I just find this comical. The moment that we got rid of Patricia, the defense 100% improved. It was done. There was the improvement. And we knew what we were getting into. Yeah, sometimes lazy journalism, but this is not the case because he was fair and giving 5 reasons why it was and why it wasn't. Now I'm going to toss this over to you, Anthony. 5 reasons not to have hope. You buying this? You in it or not? I mean, you know what you was getting into, right? Because clearly you're a Lions fan, right? And the defense really didn't improve. And there's tons of unproven talent on offense. I mean, how dare you go through that route? And did you not know that you are playing in the NFC? You know, that conference that's so stacked and the schedule is not in your favor, right? Like we just can't have it. And your coaching staff that I told you was like a reason to be happy about it, they're still green. Don't get too excited. What are your thoughts on this?
So, yeah, before I start this, I think there's a lot of things I take issue with here, but I want to say I know there are issues and we are in a rebuild in this, but I think there's a lot of things here for me that I don't agree with. The first one, you know what you're getting into. Yes, I do know what I'm getting into, and you've got to look at the thing as a whole here. We have an owner in Sheila Ford Hemp. Now, people have criticised the Fords for years, but since Sheila Ford Hemp has come here, she's led by example. Every challenge that's come across her, she's doing differently. She's not like her forebearers. She takes active action to set these problems right. She understands, like Campbell, the problems we've had in the past, and I trust her as an owner to be able to know what's right. She's surrounded herself with footballing people who've made good decisions. And I finally have confidence in the owner again. Brad Holmes, he is a guy who is very successful and talented in the scouting department, as we've seen in this last draft. For the first time in a while, we've had a good draft across the board. Dan Campbell, a head coach who, yes, may be green, but he's uniting the city. He understands, again, the problems here. He's not mincing his words about what's going on. I'm very excited about what's going on with this rebuild. Yes, this year might not be the greatest in history, but I'm excited that we're at the start of a new journey. The players that we've got coming here, and for me, that is not a negative thing for me. It's a positive, and I'm looking forward to seeing what is going to happen over the next few years. I mean, you move on to some of the other bits there. The defense didn't improve. Correct, it didn't improve. It wasn't great last year, but what has improved drastically, or will, the coaching. Last year we had Corey Undlin, who was Matt Patricia's stooge. Let's face it, we could tell. And you know, that's not necessarily.
I think he was getting peanuts and coffee.
Yeah, that's not necessarily something. That's not necessarily something against Corey Undlin, but Matt Patricia was running that defense. But here now we have Aaron Glenn, who was highly coveted by many teams who wanted him to run their defense. You've got Aubrey Pleasant in there, another guy who was wanted. We've got better coaching and we have the potential in there to really do well. So, you know, the defense last year was bad, but that was last year. We've seen with teams, if you can get the most out of your players, especially if they've got a lot of untapped talent, and mix it with the right guys coming in from the draft and the free agency, guys like Brockers, we could potentially be a lot better. The only place to go is up, to be quite frank. So again, that for me is not a negative, but a positive looking forward. The strength of the NFC North, I mean, you look at the NFC North, the Packers, if they lose Rodgers, they're going to be in trouble. The Bears were an awful team last year. They got carried by that defense. Their offense was one of the worst, probably the worst last year. I mean, I watched some of their games and it was like sticking pins in my eyes. It was horrible. The Vikings, inconsistent. It's not like these are elite teams who are miles in front of us. So I get there are issues here, but there are a lot of things there that I do take issue with. They're not negatives.
You know, I wasn't expecting. I said I was going to rant, but that was more of a rant than me, and I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you because not only did you hit on every single perspective that makes sense and is logical, it stands to reason that it's the absolute truth. And everything you pointed out is things that I think that most fans don't look at, or the writers who's supposed to be writing about these things, they don't get into. Just masterfully beautiful. Enjoyed every part of that. Steve, you know, if you don't rant, I understand it. But if you do, I understand it. Apparently, we need to talk about these 5 things. I'll bring it back up for you to see it. These 5 things why we should not have hope. You knew as a Lions fan what you were getting into, and the defense really didn't improve. And there's tons of unproven talent on offense. Not to mention you're in a stacked conference, and your schedule in that conference, brutal. And then the coaching staff that you were so excited about having that gave you hope is still green. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think Ant absolutely nailed like so many of those points. I'm just going to concentrate on this one here. The NFC is stacked and the schedule is rough, because this is something that really like pisses me off, hearing the same bullshit about the schedule every year. So let's have a look at the schedule. And first of all, let's remember it's not just about games won, because we won 6 games in 2018. And did anyone feel good about that? No, we didn't. All I remember about 2018 is getting our pants pulled down by the New York Jets on opening day. So whether we won 6 games or not, like, that's not salvaging the season. But let's look at the schedule. Okay, so this is my deep dive for 60 seconds into our schedule.
You bring it up for you?
We're playing the Chicago Bears twice. I'm just going to say that again. We're playing the Chicago Bears twice. Have the Bears got any better than last season? They've drafted a rookie quarterback who probably is going to take 1-2 seasons to really start to shine. He's not going to be an instant success, and he might not even get on the field till halfway through November. But the Bears are a terrible team. Their defense that they've relied on for far too long is falling apart. They've got no offense whatsoever. We should beat the Bears, and we pretty much did beat the Bears twice last season. The Vikings. Have the Vikings still got Kirk Cousins at quarterback? Yes, they have. I don't need to say any more. The Cincinnati Bengals, okay? Did the Cincinnati Bengals draft an offensive lineman like Penei Sewell to protect their quarterback who got injured and was out for most of the season? No, they didn't. They picked a wide receiver. So we can absolutely get at the Bengals. The Philadelphia Eagles, an absolute dumpster fire of a franchise with a head coach that looks crazy to me. Absolutely no reason why we can't beat the Eagles. the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're playing them on November the 14th. By the time we play the Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger will be 62 years old. Come on. We're then playing the Denver Broncos with Drew Lock at quarterback. Come on. The Falcons. We're playing the Falcons again. The Falcons were so bad they let us beat us last year. So I can see that. I mean, there's 6 or 7 games there for the taking. And if we can't compete then against kind of teams like the Cardinals, the Rams, we just don't know how good the Rams are going to be. That they had 0 draft picks. Yeah, they've got Stafford, but they've got a lot of holes in that team. So I think there's no reason to think that I'm not going to say that we're going to win 6 or 7 games, but we absolutely can compete in all of these games. So let's not have this, strength of the schedule, look at our schedule bullshit. No. We can do this.
Listen, I can tell you right now, I genuinely enjoyed that. I genuinely enjoyed that. Wow. I was not prepared for that rundown. But I'm glad that it happened. And it was captured on video, so I can go back and say that was short because that was perfect. Let me move it along, okay? So I can get us back on track. Get us back on track. He said, I mean, they still got Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. They're so bad, they literally let us beat them. Just take a knee. The game is over. You call a run play and tell a guy who's a battering ram don't score. Oh my God. I'm gonna leave it alone. Oh, that was enjoyable. People, again, if you have not subscribed to them, it is a joy to talk to a different perspective of fans, and they know their football. This is what this is about. For you guys to see it firsthand, they know the sport. Even though they are many miles away, they are so close to home when it comes to this team, and they know what's going on. So if you have not subscribed, please do so. It is linked in the description for you. There's no reason why you don't have to be a part of this joy that I have a huge level of joy watching and listening to. You can be a part of that as well. We're moving down to boy, I tell you, this is crazy. I find it funny as hell. That was funny. Matt, I hate to bring you at the Steve. Apparently we had the rant of the day where Anthony, and then Steve just went full-fledged unleash mode. Matthew, just try to have some voice of reasoning. Here are the 5 reasons why Lions fans should not have hope for this season. You knew what you were getting into as a Lions fan. The defense did not really improve. There's tons of unproven talent on offense. The NFC is stacked and the schedule is brutal. And your coaching staff is green. What are your thoughts?
The coaching staff is untainted by failure to begin with. So, we've talked about the coaching staff before, so I'll just say that and leave it as it is. I actually was going to go the same way as Steve when I was thinking about how I was going to answer this, because the schedule, it could be tough. It could be easy. We don't know yet. It's far too early to say. Now, we can have a look at how they did last year. There's so many teams go first to last and last to first that it means nothing. It really means nothing. There's only one team on the schedule right now that I think we cannot beat, and that's the Browns, because I think the Browns were really good last year, and I think their trajectory is still up. Okay. I think that they drafted really, really well. I think they have one of the best head coaches in the league right now, and I think that Baker is actually starting to play well, which is really horrible to say. But so I don't think we can beat the Browns, but that's the only one I don't think we can win. The Steelers are just trash. Like, that defense is okay. The defense is okay, but they are the Bears in disguise. Like, wow, they're not very good. The Broncos are in exactly the same place, apart from their problem is at quarterback, and they're not playing Drew Lock. They're going to be playing Teddy Bridgewater, and he's still not going to be good enough to actually. So that's fine. But I'll say this. They said that the offense has unproven talent right now. And then he said the defense did not improve. Well, actually, the defense is young. They may not have improved in terms of the personnel who came on, and I would actually say that they did improve. And we've talked about how they improved already. But it's unproven talent. And what does unproven talent have? Well, they probably don't have failure either. So where are they going to go? They could go down. They could go up. We don't know yet. But the we don't know is better than, oh, it's a reason to be pessimistic. It's actually, the Lions could win. Let's assume everything goes wrong. Like, everything could go wrong. The Lions could win one game next year. But let's assume everything goes right. Well, I've just said that we can only lose against the Browns. We could win 16 games next year. That's the range right now. It is so wide because we don't have any proven players. But that just means they could go and prove it. So, whatever. Like, it's all bullshit right now. It's all bullshit.
And it is. And it's one of the things that we look at and have to put respect on. Now, people, listen, I'm having my fun, obviously. And like I said, I love the breakdowns and I'm seeing everything that's going on. I agree with you. What's that? Go Saw. I hope I said that right. Who says we can beat the Ravens. I think it's possible too. Seahawks and Browns, automatic losses. Yeah, the Seahawks is different. Especially in the later part of the year, they're just different. So you want to catch teams like that earlier. So yeah, I just realized that the coach the Lions beat with the Falcons is now the replacement defensive coordinator of the Rams. That's right, Raheem Morris. Yeah. He's a guy that I couldn't stand when he's on the Buccaneers, and I was like, you just don't get it. All you have to do is take a knee in the Falcons game, and it's over. But whatever. Let me see. It's that time, people, where it's basically your opportunity to ask us, the panel, any questions that you have. Any questions that you want to put them in the chat. We will hit on them and catch them. I don't want to keep these gentlemen up too late because although it may only be 6:38 my time, I believe it is 11:38 their time. Correct?
Correct.
See, so I don't want to do that. So this is y'all time to put in whatever questions y'all have, and we can see what's going on from there. Let's see. The NFC East is trash, worst division in football. NFC South, only the Bucks. Let me see. You got the Falcons, they suck. The Saints are going to have Jameis Winston play quarterback with Taysom Hill. That might be intriguing. And then you get the Panthers. Okay, fair enough there. And the NFC West is the toughest division. Yeah, because they have the Cardinals, the Rams, the Rams, Seahawks,
and 49ers.
And 49ers. And the 49ers is the only team I think is going to be the weak link there. The problem with the Lions is not the talent; it's our team can't never stay healthy. Well, we're praying for good health, but that's the standard for any sports where you need guys to be healthy in order for us to have that success. So I can see it. I can see it being there. What Packers record with Jordan? Again, we're going to find out real soon. But let's see.
Jordan Love won't even start if Aaron Rodgers isn't in Green Bay. Jordan Love will not be the starter. It will be Blake Bortles because he's a better quarterback.
Benjamin Foe, do they have Kool-Aid in the UK? He's trying to imply the Lions Kool-Aid, but in general, I'm now generally curious. Is there real Kool-Aid in the UK? Like, is that a thing? No? Oh, no,
I don't think so. I think we could import it, but it is not made here.
Oh man, it's literally food color. That's all it is. You just put a bunch of sugar in it, and in my case, I like to kind of switch it up. I put sugar and pineapple juice to kind of give it a punch taste. But yeah, it's not even that big of a deal. But yeah, curious question. Let's see. Let me make sure I want to hit on every question because I want to make sure that people have them in it. The Lions will win the division champ in the NFC East. And the East is not as bad as you think. The Cowboys are still a good team. Eagles are questionable. And then you start to go through and you look at the Giants. They may be a questionable team, but they're showing signs of improvement. And then let me see. Who's the last one? Oh, the Washington football team. So, yeah, that's another one. So, yeah, man, it's possible. Lions undergoing uniform changes next year. What would you like to see the changes? All right, let's start that off with you, Steve. What changes would you like to see to the Lions uniform?
I'm pretty happy with the uniform. I think we've got one of the best uniforms in the NFL, so I'm pretty cool with it.
Okay. What say you, Anthony?
I'd like to see the black uniforms back. I do.
Thank you.
I love the white ones. These are great, but I do love the black strip as well. I'd love to see that back.
I like the black ones too, and a lot of fans think they suck, and I'm like, they look perfectly fine to me. Like, I have, don't judge me, but I have the black jersey for Kevin Jones. When he got here, I was like, yes, we got a running back, and then he got hurt, and I was like, I want to puke. But that's the only one I have in the black jersey. But yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I would love to see that too. I did a video, I want to say maybe a month ago, where I actually went over concept arts for helmets and uniform looks. So I'll probably do that as a short and then redo it. Matthew, what changes would you want to see happen to the Lions uniforms?
Yeah, I'm with Ant. It's the black, blue, and white or silver, something like that. At the end of the day, the blue and white we have looks great. But if someone squints, they say, oh, is that the Colts or the Lions? And it's like, actually, no one is in black and blue. That's a really nice color scheme to have.
Yeah.
It's unique.
I love it. I think it was dope, and I love it. It says, Luke, even though it probably not going to happen, do you think it's a chance we'll see Dan Campbell on the sidelines, call a few plays here and there, almost like Sean Payton? Yeah, he's going to call a few plays because his job is to manage everybody else. So he's the one. His sole thing is to understand the flow of the game and make adjustments and situational decisions in the game. Yeah, he's going to call plays. It's definitely going to happen. And the people who he employ understand that if he's calling it, there's nothing to question at that point. So yeah, I think it is going to happen. Oh yeah, Lions are going to have new uniforms next season. That is true. The Red Rocket for Chicago will get benched. Lions Kool-Aid is worldwide. This is facts. Let's see. The Red Rocket Bear is going to be funny. It is. Do you have ketchup? Oh, you is so. Okay, you know what? Okay. I don't know why they insist on bringing up this ketchup because I don't even like ketchup. I'm a mustard person, and we're going to stick to mustard and relish. But I do understand what you're trying to do, and I have not had any experience with ketchup because I cannot deny or confirm if there's been any incidents with ketchup. When we get out the air, fellas, I'll have to explain to you the ketchup comment. Who's going to be the weak link on defense? Let's start off with you, Matthew.
Will Harris. I mean, no explanation required.
Just right to the point. What say you, Steve? The weakest link on defense.
I hope it's not, but it could be Okudah if he isn't fit and we play him against the wide receiver one. I just think it's going to be a bit of a baptism of fire because he is going to be expected to kind of come back but yeah, effectively we've got like a rookie in Okudah. I think you may as well just scratch his previous experience and treat him as a rookie. And I'm just worried that they're going to put him in against some of the top receivers and he's going to get burned. But I'm certainly not calling Okudah a bust. I think he could really prove us wrong, and I hope he does.
Okay, and what say you, Anthony? Who's going to be the weakest link on defense?
Matt nicked mine with Will Harris, but I'd probably go so I'd stay in the safety group and say Dean Marlowe. Not convinced he's the answer there long term. He just feels like a bit of a band-aid there until we get round to drafting our new crop of safeties. So it's definitely in the safety group where the weak links are going to be for me.
Yeah, for me, I thought about saying Will Harris. I really did, and then when he brought up Okudah, I'm like, we can't even afford for him to be the weak link. He needs to be miles, leaps and bounds above everybody else, and he has to start to perform because if it don't work this year, he's getting moved to safety, and I think he really is a safety. We just gonna have to see what happens from that regard, but it's an intriguing question. This one comes from Ryan Diltz. I hope I said that right. It's other than Sewell, what rookie is going to make the biggest impact this season? What say you, Steve?
I think it's going to be Onwuzurike. I think he is going to really bring some pressure up the middle. And I think he's going to be someone that I think with like Brockers, there as the kind of veteran guy. I think he'll be able to bring on Onwuzurike and Aleem McNeil and, really get some pressure inside that we've just not seen for several seasons.
Okay, I was not expecting that one at all. I hope nobody don't take mine, but I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. What say you, Anthony? Who do you see having going to have like the biggest impact this season?
The guy I'm about to do a review on next week on the channel, for me, it's Aleem McNeil. He is going to be far away because we, for years, have lacked a great nose tackle. And I've watched a lot of his tape. I'm really excited about him. I firmly believe that he could be our Kenny Clark, like he is for the Packers, because there's two things big for me this year. One, we need to create holes on the defensive line, and the guy is a mauler. He can take centers, guards, rack them, and create running lanes for the pass rushers to get through. I mean, we've got guys like Derek Barnes back there. If they get the gap, they've got the speed to get through and hassle quarterbacks, and that's going to be a really big thing. So I'm hoping big things for that point. But the biggest point for me is he's an elite run stuffer, and there were entirely too many teams last year who ran all over us, and there wasn't the ability to stop the run. And McNeil, on his tape, time and time again, he gets into the backfield and stops these plays happening before they develop. And you look at our schedule this year, the Browns, the Ravens, the Cardinals, the 49ers, full of teams who lean heavily on their run game and have great running backs. And for me, if he shines like I know he can, he's going to have a massive impact on those two facets and stopping the run and in letting others get to the quarterback. He does the dirty work, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him play, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing him as well.
Well, hell, after that passionate speech, I'm looking forward to the video you're going to drop. So I can't wait for you to drop the video on it. So, and I can pick up what you're putting down based on that. What say you, Matthew, the rookie that's going to make the biggest impact outside of Sewell?
I'm glad that no one's taken mine yet. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. And there's no question in my mind that he's the guy. We just spent an hour watching some of his college tape at
He's not human.
Yeah.
He's not human.
His dad's not human.
Listen, Matthew, it's so funny you bring it up because I remember the first time I went to go watch his college film, and the first play that I see was him escorting a cornerback off the field, and I was like, oh, this is what we doing here. Like, this is how we just going to exit the people. Okay, I'll take that all day. And it was something that jumped out to me that just because it takes a mentality to block as a receiver. You just generally want to catch the ball. But to have the attitude that I want to destroy you as a cornerback, not just by catching the ball, but physically destroy you, he had me sold.
Yeah,
he had me sold.
He has maximum effort in every rep. I think that's something that Dan Campbell is going to absolutely love. He loves blocking down the field. He's okay at it. In some reps, he's very, very good. In some reps, he misses the block. So he needs to get more consistent with that. But he loves doing it. He loves trying it. So that's something, you can't teach mentality, but you can teach technique. So I can see that coming. But in terms of the short to intermediate routes that he runs, he is excellent at it. He is precise. He has good hands.
Yep.
He has the ability to be the number one wide receiver on this team. He really, really does. He actually has an underrated ability to play on the outside. So we watched a couple of his Arizona State games from 2019 and 2020. And he runs some lovely post routes, some lovely fade routes. He's got good body control when he's kind of coming down with a catch in terms of contested catches. This guy just lacks home run speed, but he plays quicker on the field than he does it 40 times suggests. So this guy can do it all. His route tree is limited right now because the USC play a really basic offense, so he needs to do a little bit of learning. He needs the reps, but the guy absolutely can do it, and he's going to have a big role playing the Danny Amendola role for the first half of the year, and then he might transition outside for the second half of the year. He might lead us in receptions, and he might lead us in yards this year.
I was originally going to go with Amon-Ra because I do agree with everything you said, but for me, it's Derek Barnes. And it's because you could put his hand in the dirt, you could put him at outside, put him inside, hell, wherever you put him at, if you tell him go, he's getting there. He's going to get home. He's going to be a disruptor. And I think having that ability to move a guy around any position on that defense and that front seven causes all kinds of problems. And so that, to me, is going to be the biggest move. Angelo says, do we know when the uniforms are going to be released? I do not. Are you guys nervous about training camps in 2 weeks? I think most of us are not nervous, but more so excited because we've been waiting long enough and we want to see what we have. Let me see.
I'd be nervous if I was in Green Bay about training camp.
Right. Yeah, that's the one we should be looking at. How did you guys become Lions fans of all teams? Don't worry about it. I got a beautiful thing coming out to explain how and why they are Lions fans. And when I drop it, you're going to want to make sure you watch it. It was the most beautiful thing there. I think everybody answered, including Ryan. The only one that did not answer was Steve. So, Steve, I definitely want to hear your response to this. How, of all the teams, 32 of them to be exact, did the Detroit Lions become your team?
Well, I'm like the older statesman of the group, so I'm old enough to remember the Barry Sanders years. So it was kind of like watching Barry Sanders when I was a kid that kind of like got me into it. But also I've got like one of my best friends, Eric Hiroki, lives in Saranac, Michigan. He's a massive Lions fan, and me and him are always chatting Lions talk. So shout out to the Hirokis of Saranac, and he's my boy.
100%. The Single Dance Club says thoughts on Bolden is he catch up on Mustard. Boy, I tell you, y'all in rare form. I think there's a lot of talk about Bolden because they're going to give him a fair shot, but I'm not looking for Bolden to do too much. I think he's going to have a hard time getting past Cephas and getting past Amon-Ra, and I know they want to keep those guys on the outside. And so now you figure he been a guy to come in relief. He could probably be that, but I'm not as high on Bolden as most people are. Is anybody else high on him or think that he has a chance to unseat someone?
I am.
Okay, talk to me about it.
So he was one of the guys that was talked a lot about in OTAs in terms of, really showing up. They weren't talking about Tyrell Williams. They were talking about Cephas, and they were talking about Bolden. And Bolden has been on the roster for the last 2 years. Why has he not been cut? This guy hasn't made the 53, but he's been there because they see something in him which is really, really good. And why I really like what he can do. He's multifaceted. He can be the return to guy as well. But in terms of his receiving talent, he's got good hands. He runs good routes. I don't know. The guy just excites me when I see him on the field. So I really am pulling for him. But the other reason why I think he's going to make the roster is we talked about the fact that there's unproven talent on the offense and specifically at wide receiver. And some of the reason these guys are unproven talent is because they get injured quite a lot. If they get injured quite a lot, we might have to carry one more wide receiver body. That means it's going to be far more likely that someone like Bolden or, dare I say it, Geronimo Allison. Please don't keep Geronimo Allison, but it could be. But we might carry one more wide receiver than normal because it is far more likely that one of our wide receivers get injured this year. So I think he's going to make the roster. I really do.
That's a good point you bring up, though. Like, I never thought about it from that point where it's like, if they don't trust the health of Tyrell Williams and Brashard Perryman, do they carry more receivers? So that's an interesting point. This is a strange question asked by Saved by the Fights, who says, do you think Jared Goff would sleep with Dan Campbell's wife like he slept with McVay's fiance? There is no proof or evidence that ever happened. Funny ass question, though, but it's not, we don't know that to be the case. From what I heard, the rumor is he thinks that the fiance is attractive and said that he would, if he was not in a relationship, he would sleep with her. I don't think that means he slept with her, but hey, who knows? It's they celebrities. I don't know. Will Lions fans be depressed after our first preseason game? Yes, because they do those type of things. They are always depressed about every freaking thing, and it's a preseason game. It don't even count.
No.
This is what they do.
The Lions go 4-0 in preseason every year. Like, come on.
but the one time they went 4-0, they went 0-16. And Lions fans, when they lose in the preseason, they listen. We overreact a lot to a lot of things, and I'm just saying. 100%. One fucking Lion fan says Luke is about to say Burns. You knew I was gonna say him. That's my guy. That's the guy I look at. What's going on, Lions Lee? Let me see. We got one says we shall see. Make sure y'all watch the prelims on ESPN. Okay. All right. So I don't want to keep y'all too much longer. We'll get into our final thoughts for today because I don't want to keep y'all too much longer. I already know Steve has to get himself ready to stay up until the break of dawn. I'm not sure why he's doing this, but I get it. I love the dedication. And I may have to even bring him back on to just talk hip hop because that is shocking. He knows a lot. It's shocking. Okay. But give me your final thoughts. Let's start off with you, Matthew. Give me the final thoughts to the people. Make sure you let them know about the channel, what to expect coming up, and remind them that you are linked in the description.
Yeah. So as he said, we are linked in the description. Please go and follow it. Please sub to us. Luke has done amazing things with us. So when we started talking to Lucas about 2 weeks ago, we had 40 subs. YouTube was a new thing for us. We were kind of audio only, and we go from 40 subs 2 weeks, 130 subs, and it's still growing all the way through this episode. It is growing, so please go and do that for us. In terms of the content that we're bringing out soon, we have an interview dropping with a Detroit beat writer on Monday. We have on Tuesday, we're talking about quarterbacks and wide receivers, and I think.
Yeah.
So we're looking at the 2022 draft. We're looking at who we might be drafting because what if everything goes wrong? Who do we need next year? So we're looking at that too. There's so much content that we're trying to bring out. My girlfriend's like, and what about me? But I say, no, the Lions are too important, so we must do this. But just this has been so much fun, Luke. You have no idea. It's amazing to speak to someone with your energy all the way through. I have no idea how you go monologue. I have no idea how you do monologue for 90 minutes to 2 hours twice a week. It is unbelievable. I could not do it. I couldn't do it. But you know what? The Lions give me hope every single year. When the season finishes, I'm like, we could go 0-17 next year. But by the time that the training camp comes around, I'm like, well, we're going to the playoffs. We're just going to the playoffs. And I'm in the middle of that transition right now. So, let's go Lions. I believe in you. I believe in Dan Campbell. We're going to do this. Come on, baby.
100%. Jimbo G says, Luke, bring them back. I will 100% bring them back. SpeakEZ Sports, a.k.a. another one of the Detroit.Sports.Alliance members, a Woodward Sports member and pretty much a damn powerhouse for the Woodward Sports. He says, I just subscribed. He also has a YouTube channel where he does talk UFC fights. So, Steve, for you who's a huge fight fanatic, he is worse than you. This guy loves fighting. He even had a chance to fight his supervisor on his channel. I thought that was hilarious. And he won. FYI, he won, but you have to see how he did it. So make sure y'all support each other. But he said he already subscribed to you, so that's awesome. But let's get into the final thoughts. Steve, what are your final thoughts for the people?
Well, first of all, I just want to go back to the talk about being depressed after the preseason games. So I'm just going to channel my inner Allen Iverson here. We're not talking about the game. We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We're not talking about the game. We're talking about practice. Preseason's practice. Forget about it. Let's just learn and let's just see these players shine and under no pressure with the new leadership. So I'm excited about preseason. We're playing the Buffalo Bills first. They're probably going to wipe the floor with us, but who cares? We're talking about practice.
Yeah. Oh my! That fight was in slow motion. That's how slow SpeakEZ moves. Easy. Oh my own, yeah. 100%. Anthony, what are your final thoughts for the people?
I just want to echo sort of what Matt said to start with. Thank you for having us on your show. This has been an absolutely amazing experience. We're approaching our 1 year anniversary for the pod soon, and when we started doing this, we just had a little chat in our rooms, just like listening, 6 or 7 people listening to us a week, and that was it. And I don't think a year later we could have believed where we're at here. And it's in thanks to people like you yourself helping us, exposing us to more people, that this has grown beyond anything I think we would have hoped for initially. The amount of bits we're doing, it's just amazing, and we love doing every minute of this. And we love you guys over there. You're starting to see us a bit more now. We appreciate everyone listening, everybody just help support us, because we're really passionate about this, as you can tell. And yeah, thanks so much for all this. And that's my final thoughts to everyone who's out there. So be positive. This franchise has a bright future. I don't think it's anything like the rebuilds of the past. There's a new wind up there. The Dan Campbell train is going forwards, and I think it's going to go forwards with some real momentum. So let's get the positivity going. This might not be the greatest year on record, but let's all get behind it, work together, and we're going to see a lot of positivity coming in future years. And I can't wait for it.
100%. First of all, I could not thank y'all more for coming on and for allowing me to come on and just being so cool. And it's like I said, it's the fact that you guys are so knowledgeable and you're definitely in the loop on what's going on with this team, and it's a dear to have. So just quick, let me just break this what he's talking about. My good buddy right here, SpeakEZ Sports, who, if you see right here, says Bruce Lee is an actor. He believes that if Bruce Lee and him got into a fight, he would win. And he really believes this, and so this is not him he really believes that Bruce Lee is one of them guys that he would beat up. But yes, it's funny. To the people who's in the chat with me, y'all have been 100% a joy. Shout out to my man SpeakEZ, because I'm going to get him on. Oh, look, see, let me let the people see so they can get it up there, right there. There it is for you. There it is. See, y'all don't
That's
know.
The album.
Y'all don't know. Y'all sleeping. Y'all sleeping on Steve. Steve gonna end up teaching y'all about your own history. You okay? Don't get me started. But I got to get Easy on next, because Easy is always a joy to be around. And he's 100% hilarious. And I want to thank you all for being here on a Saturday. Obviously, I don't go live on Saturday because I usually getting yelled at and exhausted by my children. Luckily, my beautiful better half has them under control today. So yay me. But me, I never end a show without a positive quote. And it's 100% the reality that I'm going to do today. Today's positive quote comes from me. You need to embrace the knockdown. I'm going to say it again. You need to embrace the knockdown, because the get up is where you're going to find your best power. Let me get this together. We're going to work this out. Some of y'all seem to get knocked down and just like to stay down. But see, if you understood that the knockdown is not the problem, it's the things you do after being knocked down that defines the moment. What I have found is every time I've been knocked down, the knockdown sucked. It was not great. It felt like it was the lowest point of my life. But when I got up, the power that I got from getting up is what moved me. And that movement is what got me to understanding that you can knock me down as many times as you like, but I will always get back up. Meaning that no matter what a person do or say about you, or how they come at you, or how they attempt to break you down, there is nothing they can do to keep you down. The frustration will no longer be on you. It will be on those who try to oppress you. It will be on those who try to keep you down. If you are ever in any moment trying to find your power, remember to embrace the knockdown, because when you get up, it is at that moment that you truly become powerful and the master of your universe. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's show. Please make sure you subscribe to Roar of the Lions UK channel. It is growing, and it's a reason why, because they know what they're doing and they know what they're talking about. And if you ain't done nothing else, if at all nothing else, please don't be no chump. Please do your research. We are out.